Ora Kwesi Kwating, legal practitioner, and I feel so campaign spokesman person for the Ken Agyapong team.
Good morning.
Morning. Already adum now so.
Already ne me dey me.
Nice.
My tenancy maminchia ahwefo ne atiefo nyina.
Yeah.
Member obi achi. Na sebio still yewo eyim.
Yes. I
just say me he wachi ha and it screen so. Me hu say Mantia Sebio no on more embark on official duties on more sure more crown. I think say to live with us for the rest of our lives. But a book assumes and run is see Muslim before sa kwanya so de ama ebusuan nyina yakọ na ya mo bi associate Ghana men I just hope say it will be a turning care for all of us. Openina no kasa on the hunim die nti one more eka bia de adwe ne be de ye beche na at the end of the day no the empenifo ye hwemu e be hu nyina na I'm sure say the betuefo but me broadly no I want to expand the conversation even to the broader conversation on accident in general, emergency responses. Yeah, the car accident was a vehicle needs to be a car na open kwa. But as a minor, even accident to crash fear, if you see be the gas a journey, maybe a ijatoa, a crime so near fast how do you respond to it? It's a conversation that we need to have it. There as a country, you share damn fire ninya day, and go home be brave. We and no crowd to free while over road. Ode wa foul phone ne ko Google na AI ne busa ne say fiti ode aname tap bra o man de nya e Fourth Republic fiti ne enye time nya independence was a Fourth Republic 92 year ode say fa say 92 till now busa even AI and I say busa Google cra say or mount the number of deaths enya on our roads alone obeka cho say reported deaths on road crashes. There's a you unreported, and that reported could even be more than the reported, or a bit in Kwana de IEP. Oshabaka Joseph 92 about BCB 2005. They said any proper online records to be a Nemo the Oho Siana, no your projection, or say a minimum between 60,000 to 90,000 deaths. So, a beer Sebi Kafat, a beer no. And quiet penifo attitude maybe we didn't get the needed attention but as a canker moja de if you go so and I wouldn't nipano the obaya de amo mine and I know the ACA me yonko ba kwa me frɛ o se dwaso de yes o mo konsie mu no mo du kwan ho ba bi no mo so mu age na nkora wo ma yom hu yi na Fofi Antoata tanka na de kwahwima ye yanti asem papa nkora be 15 or 16 onumi na ye de ehwe omonkwa I'm sure it should have also been part of the learning curve and case a man needed attention case de enya but penifo ma hwe omonkwa e hadwen but them say addition wo ne say as a country no when it comes to the emergency responses when it comes to how a nipe would through accident in general, whether road, whether because the other over in history be a woman about quiet day have a film.
Road
and for me is a conversation. Okay, Kumasi to Accra road there. Bra made them a fast day be a okay Cape Coast Accra Cape Coast road that. No can say oh Koba your chances of survival is about 60% or even less. Say camp no crap patch and one or the other. So fuck Kumasi Kwan so Koba a biana. There is some slight chance be say we an accident. Media to me there is some slight chance be say could be overtaking wrong driving be a quantity be baby or engineering works be what will be or dodgy be me say atu be the how will you live in your own country nya obi so your own country let's say be wo prepare dia and now ko hwe obusu afo and no okwa your chances of survival is even minus. Because we be a bit we can't live in a country like that. And yet and comma yet because you normalize no. I am me ajatum so cardia a quincy day eba. enti ni nipa kura wu asebi o nyame na de ma nyame ana ye de eje o nipa de asebi o wu de ka nipa ho ya wo nkwa de otimi ye de ewu and ne ka we nyina de ahye etima and we don't take any action. So nti me nkoma dachi bi no platforms like this equity no any other media platforms on any penifo can be home no is a conversation they need to bring on board. I remember recently me di honi say no recently na me can asema about washrooms na me tro be say musuma contract ya me tro ba ko ten say mentiase say public washrooms here too mentiase because who say when it comes to sanitation and any pass over your who ya etimi two baby etimi si baby I didn't think I'm in circle ha the nearest public institution and now saving private institution se se si company ye twa for maintenance mintimi nkotwa once year na two si da mintimi ko hem hui na just say me so se bi o se jonso me blood musa ediko me fear spenters amete on public health on even sanitation on everything but anya dia we have been bold to talk about it so but me can maybe me nam London na me pese me yem huyi na me wura mu e ho no me swipe ka obi anti ho obe swipe card no o swipe na ma access no ayede wawurum eno kura ma enhu me mistake or swipe twice ho na ko buza no ya to state na nyeska okwaka omu so ha de ye ni maintenance culture we are say be any who say be obi maintenance culture what we have a maintenance budget and maintenance personnel ade ba ko amisun fi mi am papa Dr. Dutchun also no we are say be any who your maintenance culture there is not nowhere in the world your maintenance culture because when you leave people so more for my junior the but you need to have a way of say no kwamudi generate sika say nka ye won say obi a kesmen hakra na wo twemo no atimi ebe ye ne hu yie wa ha say one city na two cities a watwia ho nipa wo hwe ho no de sesi ho ohun kebe promote but these are conversations we don't have and the basic necessities of life the basic decisions of life also as a country no also adwene de echo and it is along that line me koka accident no ho asem nyina ye de eka but say bi onya sie wi nti ye nyina ye nchire re ne nhye ho de
I mean it's scary wo ka road accident no ho asem and I mean in the space of just about 6 months your friend is saying o check even reporter road traffic for regulation for no Adiaba. I mean it's too huge. You have almost about 12,000 and something cars in accidents. Yes. I mean you have fatalities almost about 1,054 or 504. You have accident
in 6 months.
In 6 months. I mean accident in Kwesi is almost about 7,000 and beyond. Some figures.
How do we get
just 6 months, January down to June, July,
and if you are being very bold, road accidents, ekuni passing here.
Yeah.
Road accidents, ekuni pa crash and poverty, ekuni passing cholera, ekuni passing COVID-19, ni passing ni puye. Osha, okay, can be pa almost say, Osha average in a every year biano, between 2,000 to 3,000 deaths, the reported ones. For our reported no can one project. We are looking at about 3,000 deaths. How did we get here?
Very scary.
And now the sad part and they say socio-economic implications. Say papa na ono hwe nkwara wo fie no o tena wo free ma ye na yi wiase no beko ni akoto na twe ni nyina be fie
adwada memenda obi a fie
na unim o se ehia de bia o na me ofa ni ho mo fa na hwe me no okuwie me ofa free mu papa free mu me ma me so okokwan so aba okoye gikwan so okofa adwene ne se ka ne butuye ana wanti ma hwe me bio eno ano no na nipa the whole long chain life say ye system bi hakra so a ye wo proper insurance policy bi a sasemesi na obenti free ma and for me I'm a fan, of course. I mean, I support Kennedy Agyapong. I'm a spokesperson, but I want to say, Kebeko 2028 for 2028 elections, conversations like this also come on board.
Sure.
Not only Galamsey, but maybe to say road safety. It should be on the table because people who are there, yanka who for plans and they say, opening Kennedy Agyapong, Kwabe so na first address road safety. So, and this is one another neighbor. A Kwabel's number for us address road safety on sanitation. You will normally be brewa just on the basis of enforcement alone. Keep it in cry a day, a breeze can cry. Nice. Anyway.
Yane aye ura kwesikwati na edi enkomo no aye spokesperson Emma aye Agyapong campaign ni no edi enkomo no but yamna aye campaign and what is really happening. First of tell us how is Ken doing? Campaign to say
ma memfa ofidi sonka ura Ken otu kwan kakra.
Okay.
Unse ayi ba ye nyina nipa esu ni mpanimfo kwachechia ira mahama so no ne mfanse pani kesi a wote ayi epono so to no obia kwa na yakochia na wadi anim na ya chia busua nyina emse kentimi mebe watu kwan kakra.
Okay.
Me susu se enekosi wo chande na nyankopɔ de na yedai abedru na ono so abechia.
Okay.
Enti ne ho ye ɔte asɛm ne ha ne pa ɛnde sɛbi sɛ nyɛ ɔno nko a nipa bi a ɔyɛ nipa kan bia no ɛwɔ sɛ ade we ade yɛ sɛ yɛde oyam yɛde ɛhyɛ wɔ but aside that no sɛ party no kwa yɛ nsɛ sɛ until sɛ o sɛ de uzika ke bi wi akotia by election no campaign sɛm no ke nyɛ de entwentwɛn so kakra na nka etimi wi akotia na fe nyina aka ho ayɛ de abo because also yɛ de ehu hia ana no kre sɛbi o wa ho den te say ya say we fa party no so we anti party na sem na akoye campaign na wo chena wo na to abakora ma na party na medi wachi a ahoden no NCP ema de obesa wo yo no untimi nya nei enyo nti na ye de e di super na akwati ahon koma na ye de ye dia odi tu kwan say or down ho kakra ye dey aba so no businessman it be go to kwan obehwe busia obefa ha kwakɔhwe pengo for wo boa enyuma ne ade but the next o cha de enyame de na but I mean aside that say ni nipa kasa phone so bia ba community bi say ne obi ya wise wakɔ yi ase wakɔ share party for mutimi kasa won chia wo obɛchia wo party for so ba ofie so obɛchia wa ene sebio de ya obɛka so ne wada Roma bia wo yira wo fufu kura entwa bi nya dai emo mo se milo bi nso anopa ye de kakra gu nso ma ye de amo mo kakra so se ho aseka ho bi ne ya ajefa ka ni na ka ho bi so kakra
but in a mix of this whole issue of accident, see the nation is mourning and all that, in your article you made a certain line within your article creating the impression that in as much as your friend is saying mourning is going on and all that with regards to Dr. Bawumia even attending and even going to visit the president and the team and all that, there are people within Bawumia's camp, almost social baby in Ashanti region thereabout. They also campaigning when indeed the NEC had said that after Akutiano will have to come back and do proper or full campaign, as you call it. But people are down there. Your friend is saying campaign specific with the Bawumia camp. How true is that?
Openi we am kwaro e kan book bi pani bi sabe or throw for the then Russia regime no ma bi na ekoso now here so na the same approach of governance no na ekoso Ghana Nkrumah regime di Nkrumah kwa brepa de kanene nkura kan book no secondary school na leche ono kwa dem so ban na ni ade nyina book ni atweche animal farm openi o throw ye no e friend George Orwell o throw kata ni ye pa na George Orwell wo kan animal farm na the summary of it say emo nyina no mo so mo pefa ahodie o mo so mo kan nyina say wo mo e boss no o ye nipa no o tete wo mo ndu me fa so mo nyina esia ye ku no mo so ye hwe ni anya fa ahodie na afei e nyina no obi atime di no ho obi atimi ekɔ na afom obi ekɔ ebura no akɔwe bi nkatia no akɔwe bi asem bi anya de eni ho na no mu nim say animal farm no kingdom no mo tie no na opani na no ho no the farm owner na todwane kutwa grass ne ade nyina de ebro no mo yes somebody omo di omo ho ese mo nyina fe omo declare independence freedom ebi ni Ghana dey freedom opani na on dem story ne omo wie no mo yes omo se semra no mo se hwe sa bra ne ni party no na ni pa ye no ho so wo soro ye de esen ye nti aso mo kan say omo mra na so mo say first law de ban say all animals are equal afei no kɔ nanim no wɔn ko hwɛ ya na afei ye kɔ pepa baabi kakra ka ho say all animals are equal but some are more equal than others say baby adu no afei mo on post abam we so na ye president we so na ye vice we so na ye director which one a general manager, which one a HR head, and the one fan of swat, dining hall granting him when you're day, Eddie. It is the same thing that I felt was playing out here. Asemra, party neck, the directive I had Abba. One must say, hey, yentimi enko ye campaign, ye suspend the campaign. Be our aspirant when it's ready who be our support some party no. Party needs to say the Kibu Council also ye the Udiso. So acquire Semrano in terms of enforcing Emrano. I say Ibinu Woha and apply because they are more equal than others. Based on Jojo was some more or can or any more farm. Let's say video more sopa. And let me be some say, hey, Agyapong pa no kobusa amrayu na man testy from we here campaign or former. Say we open secret videos so me a more facha ma unto me.
I was just about to ask you.
Or your campaign or Ashanti Rejama Dr. Bawumia. Honorable Chairman Sabon so a campaign e Ashanti Rejama. And not only him, he's moving with the team. Me a more for Kofi Juma, Maxwell. So your campaign or the team no move. Hanti and no one. And man no more the any so it's directive, but Sebio I don't have the enforcement powers. I know I leave it to one more who to me, the National Executive Committee, no make it that decision. But almost so she or who they are, then at the end of the day we'll leave it to the jury out there. Say Ghana for her, so be I there. But then you have hammer. Then the hammer can see a pa minia. Say so say to me now open and open your costume and desire. Now to me no nyane nipa na akoso mu ni ho a enfa na akoso to me no ukoso mo na eni ukoso nipa so de a se enipa ewo amanem nipa wo yonimu so nipa wo yaudi mu a you also have to be sensitive and read the mood of the nation and act accordingly and that's
yes
na unya to me ni wie no ochana nipa e wo Ghana nyina ma no susum na so yesi Yesu aba na obi efirima o nyame de obi akwa de na abaye everyone akodi ni so and so I felt they should have been sensitive to the mood of the nation. So mining in a AC penny or mining in a treasure draw, mining in our young. Penifo yi we muku we nya kwampaso. Na a quite the yakran say, they say be a normal your more private business. They died in the line of duty and they were not NDC ministers, they were ministers of state. Who said, oh, cross less anywhere after you become a state asset. So I felt say they should have been a bit sensitive to them. Because especially when even Dr. Bawumia himself or no penina nkasa odi animo no say munyina na no yehunu so ole ref ne one Joyce Bawa no mo kasa ne John Mama mo kasa okochia mu ndi penina akra ene oman ni nyina ye dey is twaja adwo ye nyina we are all morning na be hu say ne mpeni nkofo bi and if it was sebia kwasi kwati bi kra na wo form no ye campaign akameti ase say kwasi kwati be kasa bia ono youthful exuberance e bia mantesem kakra ye dey e won no so but nipa mbobo these are high profile people one more ya de bi na bia meme ya de kwa na nya chemensa betima kasa kwasi ade we de achia meboa opani ma so Kofi Juma so kwasi ade we de o ye wa anye ni entesa chama untu wo se me na me ye chairman of a region nti we de achia party directives sisi but omo no omo nti ase bo hunu se mfunso bi hanya de eni ho na omo ekoya no omo ye campaign a ho nsem bibre ba ya no mo ko ekoga se Dr. Bawumia 41.6 dada nti sadia yamane enkono here less than 10% ma me trosa kata am sure say be kum
yes e ba be kum
but even enokwa no sa asem no person me kan of videos say it's not tenable ya to abawi na ka say obi wo 41.6 dada per that extension of that logic it presupposes that the NDC should also have 50 of obi wo 41 dada it presupposes that NDC should have 56 and also 56%. Then what is the essence of going for the election even in the first place? You are 12 vote to include it can only be a basis for judging performance, but it can be a basis to say a vote or you could go and you could even get more than 41% in the subsequent election. It can actually also reduce maybe and this the even go campaign say you to abawi no na no ba ku nya 41% intino all you need no on all kind of percentage terms so here be say e bia na 10% here 10 there. Even if you want to look at the percentage term, we lost with about in the nominal values, with close to 1.7 million votes. Okay. With about 2.1 million.
But my main clear winning we enough in establishment in the world. Who do you want to fault? One up say bonus to bosses here. A case where the leader is doing, a national thing. Na neck, which is supposed to be taken care of. And you maybe say no. Why won't you then address this issue issue with NEC, but you want to politically, I mean, quote, I should say, to really draw Dr. Bawumia into this fray. Why won't you say it's a neck in they should establish the fact that the was your campaign, it is not fair. I mean, to the whole campaign structure, and whether your good self, Bawumia Nemu, and Brian or Makenya, but rather you tend to see Bawumia being put into this fray.
No, I don't think it really has to do with him per se. But at the end of the day, he's the ultimate beneficiary. Oh, yeah, sure, say. Mpenifo ya yebobo mudi so mo campaign anko mudi kudi di ahemfo bi atam Ashanti region I be affect na come from.
Why won't you blame NEC? I don't blame NEC.
No,
I don't know for NEC. Dr. Bawumia.
No, me case about me say at the end of the day he's the ultimate beneficiary. Oh yeah, sure say some mpenifo ya mbobo mudi and then so mo me ense nyina afaka edi group akogina menhia no mudi di mpenifo e wo hatema ana ye did Dr. Bawumia abata mu in Dr. Bawumia's name. We are sure say ka on from kan jom say mpenifo menhia de e ho sem de yemfendi agro anti hwe no man kwankwo ye dwebia na sa homa so bia ho bibia nya o men kan boko won fa chiri kwankwo pacho. So at the end of the day, when you become the consequential beneficiary of an action or inaction of some people, especially when they are fronting your campaigner, you cannot purge yourself from it. That will be running away from responsibility. Ultimately, you have to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, but ultimately, the party has to take responsibility.
Me kasembi enye. No work in Agyapong ehu ana wote na wanchere me se kwesi kasa we die enye kasa me pa. Oh, yes, also one endorse them here. It means it presupposes that he endorses what I did. Again, there is also the party sitting there, me a member of the party, which ordinarily, by virtue say me a member of the party, one also has a responsibility on the party near the NCC. I don't want to go there. That's why I leave you to the jury out there. So said the woman there, say, and this woman who say, and she say, we leave it to them. So say woman the directive in the buy. According to the woman who say, obi e muswa. Fair deal. But you see, the dangerous precedent that the sex is that at the end of the day, one here, or China, Agyapong and the camp was, hey, Niango for what is former, you're here to be an unfair and an undue advantage to, against us. In tears, you're the NTC form. Engineer Agyapong says, na say now the chairman suppose mu kwa yi bi gra no obi ya nka won asem me boa who's on what TSC form the other former boss Dr. Zeduchum was na mo na mo di akwati ehunu ayi na akwati akwa say it ba akwo nteza na no de ngbofo so nkofo egufo mo so ye campaign 4 months 5 months to election and yes ade ameso kra meja me nkofo ayi dey agum obi an kwa campaign na obi a ja ne nkofo gum so obi an kwa campaign wan na akwati adwuma no. That is for me the fundamental problem. It's not really about a blame game, but the principle, the underlying principle of the point that I'm raising is that it doesn't give a good picture. It doesn't send a good. It doesn't give a good precedent, and most importantly, it presents an outlook that shows us that we have a weak leadership, which may not necessarily be so. Because the party benefaka semba now chena wobu so let us say okra no umfo ehun bia nya dey emo abo no so de hun na we ne hu
and a party so kan he leadership so kan
oh as now they so can be akwa amaka bi akwa ate amaka bi akwa ate
so then they become weak.
No, that is the impression by that conduct will show out there. Say na say the party benefit for so mo kasa mo money so and I'm not sure say these 3 high profile individuals are the people who want to send that impression. E bia omo enti asie mo no bia omo de no mo enim penifo na edim komo keke but nipa bebre omo so wo hwe no omo so any impression ya mpenifo yi send there e just party no kra no mpenifo no say omo kasa ma ebi nya de eni so, which for me does not augur well for the growth of our party. Okay. But minimum dream and about entia a campaign. But at the end of the day, it happened.
How did you see it as a campaign? Who they say omo then out say so omo ko an instruction omo ko say and omo ko say enko to aba mobi then omo kan ya would say a campaign.
Oh, now campaign what as a campaign I say to aba mobi answer.
Oh, send ye check wuntine bia when who say ye wuntimi nam ha onamase ha ba e din.
I think say in Ashanti region I mean most of the videos that we are seeing and the reports that we are getting in omo kasa who say omo message omo de nam say yema Ira Dr. Baumia a second chance. No more ahode pa mu de gyan say second chance and kwa no hwa opani President Kufuor onya kwanya amema no compre no. President Kufuor akwa de ma na kwanya ma ne de e compressor. No kra so aka say Dr. Baumia kwa de 41.6% dada.
Yes.
To here kakra bi na de aka ho. Na the closest contender which is Agyapong kwa de 0%. Nti any kwa so mo ye consider no. And then same be asebio and it may not be good for radio. But I want to say no suit me the APM. But I mean I don't want to repeat them because they may appear divisive. Emwa party near the enkanko. Sebio say me okaniu and na mesua so say yensi entuma go fi ye dey e wabonti ntuma bo amejai. But for instance, one more history about say Dr. Baumia 41.6%. It's not accurate. It's a misleading narrative. You're trying to one hour 41.6%. I go here. Easy one. As you next election, you be kind for 41.6. You be kind for 41.6. Yeah. And then this is who Harold already has 56. And the end kind free. And there is no point we should even be contesting for the election because somebody already has 56%. It's a idea as a sebi wish young for who so much more ha and our caucus actually. So bu nipa pa na hu say nipa oka asamache no nipa ne ya nipa na adwemu da ho kan wo ye badwen ba asem we wonka che no u bu nipa no say nipa no the person can reason out of the issues wonka za asem nje no so we were 41% obi aka bia we 0 we asem we o me kai mu oduma emunyedu what I say now the most substantive issue has to do with the second chance argument no mo ye no correct Penny a friend President Kufuor nya second chance echo minimpre no so Penny Kufuor adokrade onya even the third chance and sakwa no yede o wini. Now you see when you are giving a historical account of events SEC or party one, you also have to situate it in a very true context. What is the true context? The true context is say in MPP we've had 4 flag bearers. You need be in film and fabisu nyade enhyem to me I say a analysis of data no so afa ba bia be dey ebebo no so macroeconomic figures indicators in you say when the fundamentals are weak the exchange rate will expose you no, but you other micros and the variables be so faka ho ka sem no kan ka nyade enkoye basa kibia ka enkoye when the fundamentals are there can be something different. But this is the point in MPP say the music enya flag bearers mi you know party na yom openia odi kan pa Professor Dubois 1992 so okay yes na edi kan to abama no no openia otoso so President Kufuor Professor Dubois de ma ne ko ba akope President Kufuor ye ma ne ko ni mpre no ye de eso President Kufuor do kwa de ni mpre sa so asa na obede obewini na nim ana Dr. Baumia so ye de e bai na nim share the history of MPP sankofo we nyina no se ebe mu akwa na ye ma unko bi is contingent on ade ba akopɛ performance ti asɛm ni yo se mpanifo kra kana kanka sɛm se amfo na ye dai e kyerɛ ne nto aso meboa amfo na kyerɛ ne nto aso na wa mo homo de ye de ne nipa timi epia ana mpanifo so aka se de ofu duapa na ye dai epia no. And you would have some historical account to be with relation to the figures of Omunyai. Openia, your friend Professor Dubois, one on the first time, or no a general election, no general election. Naka no 92, but 92 no pre 92 neo military era. Yeah, who say 92 no, and I did the PNDC 1 P. As happened PNDC 2 and a free. Yeah, and then we're transitioning from the military era into what we call the Republican, and therefore Republican here by I give you birth to the 1992 Constitution. We had the foreign powers, another thing putting so much pressure on Mr. Rollins and say on going into democratic dispensation. It's okay. Yes. And tell you when you ask me, can say one more call contest no. You, despite sir coming from that suppressive and hostile environment, na ewo still Professor Dubois or managed to secure about 1.2 million votes and represented 30.29%. Percentage no here 30.29%. Now unim sabre no say to abakra na and no we use opaque ballot boxes no. Now he say only military leader or no na transition or minor in the friends democracy no na election. Na wono tumi o woni ni huhu ewo ngofo kwa dimpie metraba na makoto aba na wonya 30.29 no President Wallace nya 58.4%. Gab no 1.1 million. How here me pa the difference no 1.1 million then. Because in the history of our fourth republic, the worst difference that we've ever had was the last 2024 elections. Catch us say I'm for a better day, a better than so. That was in 92. 96, Professor Dubois has acquired. Or no find a party by you. No, so 96 was Sabe Kubu. No, or yes, walk. Yes, walk on President Kofokoi. Na party for the despite circumstances and the war pre-military era, transitioning about democracy, to about na transparency, 30.9 na 30.2 na unyayeno. Koyo, almost said there be a man and twasso. And to call 96 general election, party now, Professor Dubois here and Kubu. He lost the primaries to President Kofo. The President Kofo then won 96 primaries. No, the party no call, and President Kofo, the President Rollins here day, a call the next election in 96. Na sabre na party no more organized kakra. President Kofo nya 2.83 million votes and represented 39.67%. Into usha President Kofo move Professor Dubois 30.29% and of course 39.67%. But what oh maybe I'm mediation. And now President Rollins win 4 million votes around 57.37%. Gab no who hear me pa difference of the votes no so na 1.2 million votes into here difference and that Professor Dubois Henry Rollins mu 1.1 President Kofo the 1.2 but don't hear the nominal figures in the petrol here na in terms of percentage na President Kofo they are free 30% 39%. May tell trajectory no matter the trend may your trend analysis say in MPP no ubia about or appreciate it from the predecessor baby or day of a free nti wa antimi anya na the performer e wanna party for no be hu say o modern ba anya day anko so nti one mo nya day and 12 just like Professor Dubois here no now Marie 96 the next time you start the flag bearer call first for the first time after Kofo free office no the year 2008 okay
yeah
the year 2008 was President Akufo-Addo by no wouldn't say one President Akufo-Addo quite another highest office had not occupied in his history as a young man who wanted to lead the country. The highest office was a Minister of State. It was a shuffle between Attorney General and the Foreign Affairs.
Foreign
Affairs. President Akufo-Addo in 4.15 million votes. They represented 49.13%. And you know how for President Kofo first time or they equal 39 to 49 or the very plus 10% higher account. And these are facts and data that I'm reading to you. To hear President Akufo-Addo President Akufo-Addo there, the first time he is the only first person in the history of MPP. You did not co-election where we winning on this first round.
Is it not the fact that around that time situations changing? I mean, you're looking at Ora Akufo around that time. You had Rawlings who has done the 2 terms, right? So politically, I mean, the state in itself tells you that Obiadi 8 years is enough for a certain particular party to knock off. And it is Ora Kofo etumi winning appreciating for the very first time. Are you not looking at Akufo-Addo? Are you not appreciating that fact? Sade nintina manabasa.
Okay, minya. Wasama kano asama eyitrodo. There are factors prevalent. No matter and until affected some way or somehow it would have influenced the outcome of the elections.
Exactly.
Then,
yes.
But just a mental picture of 2008 when President Akufo-Addo contested. In 2008, we had something that we call global economic recession. So,
yes,
global economic recession. America partner hit your market pa. Na America hit America and all developing economies, including economies from Africa and third world countries like us, the impact was that very worse. 2008 and the Bush free officer actually Obama here a buyer. Just giving a picture. And you 2008 Kofo cry kono. When Ghana Kofo describe Kofo as the worst leader they've ever had. People describe him as even a Tei. So on the Obese Ghana Ghana Sika. I'm just giving you say 2008 was one of the worst years. The whole world was globally challenged. Be a friend of the global economic recession. 2008. Into the world economy in 2008 was that very bad. But you see, then again, President Akufo-Addo's popularity then was still able to take the party, you know, to an election. Not only did we win for the first time, but he was also able to take us for the first round. He was also able to take us to the runoff. Again, I'm not even making a case about who won the general election per se, but now we are comparing the figures. What I say, and how wide the figures are. Now we are comparing, say, the trajectory, you know, we be free him or the core him. We are not saying, say, oh, President Dr. Aboagye shouldn't lose election. Election in the history of MPP crowd will be a dinner with the exception of President Akufo-Addo losing the first round or winning the first round. Will be a lose the first round.
Yes,
that is not the argument that we are making. But Olusu would say, does it give us hope? Does it inspire us?
But then again, losing with that huge numbers now is also not the fact that around that same time, you know, the conditions around that time also did not favor that candidate in our kind of Dr. Aboagye in favor no. Oh, that around that time, the same thing. I mean, there were issues. I mean, you raised too many.
It's a very valid question. The point I'm making is that Ababia is a son.
Yes,
there are conditions precedent and conditions contingent on which the public based on it and I know there are no two ways about that.
Okay,
it affects both MPP and NDC.
Okay,
it affected Kofo, it affected Akufo-Addo, it affected Dr. Aboagye.
Sure.
And the same conditions will affect President Mahama.
Sure.
It will still affect Professor any other person, Professor Mills.
Yes.
So those conditions are constant.
Okay.
Why? Because our problems as a country are the same. Economy, poor roads, health, infrastructure, education.
Yes.
These are conditions that are always there.
Good.
These are conditions that are trouble.
Good.
Every 4 years, these are conditions that are trouble. You cannot suggest to me, say, in the case of Dr. Aboagye, his conditions were so peculiar and so unique and so different. And in the that's what I'm giving until I'm medical for 2008. You know? Well, if the argument is that the economy had broken down, I am suggesting to you that in 2008 the economy was also worse. Yes, so President Akufo-Addo's popularity was able to push the party, you know, into an election. We even won for the first time. To the extent say you could lose the second round, no, what time? Okay.
Yes.
Time with about just 40,000 votes.
Yes.
Even in the case of Akufo-Addo, the first time he won with over 100,000 votes. Professor Moss, and they call time. He said, yeah, no, well, yeah, now 49.13, and a Professor Mills is 47.92%. Oh no, Obi and Timmy 50% mark and yeah, no. And it's a call time. The time Professor Mills Moya de Equa Daneno, Emma President Akufo-Addo de Lucy. In that case, and how do you look into President Akufo-Addo's face and tell President Akufo-Addo say, oh, first round we need now even the second round Lucy and you lost with just like around 23,000 votes in Tiempamo. And no son party from the cancer no. Papa no more than boy, you know. I'm for the challenge trust on Tianya de and Tonoso. Mama San Akufo-Addo the second time. I do President Akufo-Addo 3 times scoring. On the second time, or election, no call Supreme Court. Supreme Court no crown court no judges 9 court no assembly so. E move 4 and then they are open in election we win. Ti asem you. Judges 9 Supreme Court. Sabrina no moka Professor Tubiga JJC adinyira ho when he okay. Chachuji kata no ne Philip Addison no. And the many people require need so almost be law. Oh
yes, Mekaipa.
And it is nipa sa na wo de na kwa even court no 4 of the judges even agrees with him. Say no, you've won the election, we should go for a rerun no. How do you say so? Again, he's demonstrated and proven with a remarkable track record. Say, "Ampa, what the next bit my day, aye." And then never tell time where they obey winning. But now I'm comparing that to Professor Dubois. In the case of Professor Dubois, 30.1 or the year, 30.2. Let me confirm. I think 30.2909. Remember the difference was 1.2 million votes. At that time, the party people felt it was so wide. Now compare that to President Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo, no, the first difference, and when I say 23,000 thereabouts. So how will you say now compare to 2008? Yama fast to 2024. In 2024, Tiasem no, your co-elections no in 4.65 million votes, representing 41.61%. And President Mahama Sunya 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
4.65 million representing what?
4.65 million representing 41.61%. 41.6.
Okay.
And President Mahama 6.32 million votes, representing 56.55%.
Is the 4.6 million not more than the first attempt of Urakufo?
So that will be let me borrow Dr. Aboagye. So that will be a WAP logic, because you also have to look at the number of votes involved, right? The baseline. What is the baseline? If you take the percentage alone, you'll be wrong, because if we are to go by extension of that logic, then why did you also lose with 1.7 million here? So it's not about the percentages. We are looking at a trend where you compare a predecessor to a predecessor, and that is a trend. President Kufuor from Professor Aboagye from 30, President Kufuor to 39, to President Akufo-Addo to 49. Now, when you pick from 49, the trajectory is on an ascending trend. You don't then bring it from 49 to 41. What even makes it more crucial? Even President Akufo-Addo second term. If you want to compare to President Akufo-Addo second term, what you compare to Dr. Aboagye votes, it's about 10%.
But can you still compare the 4.65 million with Baumia to be more closer to Akufo-Addo's own, Akufo-Addo's first round?
Akufo-Addo's first round. Let me tell you, Akufo-Addo's first round, no. He won with 100,000 votes difference. In Dr. Aboagye's first round, he lost with 1.7 million votes difference. That's the picture. Akufo-Addo's second round, right? So what even brought him into office? The 2020 Krana, and we are very close a bit compared to Dr. Aboagye. And Akufo-Addo won. The votes difference should be about, let me get the figures right. But if you recall, the votes difference, so it's about 2.1 million votes compared to what Dr. Aboagye recently had. So the principle that I'm laying is this: the input that I'm making is that if you look at Professor Aboagye the first time, on my 30.29 in 1992, President Kufuor the 30.29 and 39.67 in 96. It shows 9.38 percentage point increase and a become from Professor Aboagye the performance. Now Akufo-Addo ebe fa 49.13 in 2008. It also means that 9.46% point increase and what become President Kufuor but we heard Dr. Aboagye there now. Onukwana recorded a decline from the predecessor of 7.52%.
Okay, so let's make this analysis. All these candidates are they've never been vice to a certain government or
that even makes it more crucial. Yes,
good. So all the people were main that you produce here, the party produced to stand. I mean, a competition. This is the first time I'm sure when a running mate, a vice president, wababidi as a leader of the party, wako elections, Abba. So why would you give such a person that second chance simply because or your vice to an existing a president who within his time, a lot of issues happened. Economic issues were there. I mean, but you had issues. I mean, social issues were there, economic issues were there, and all that. I mean, facing that reality. Then out of that, a vice president comes out as a presidential candidate for the party. This is the first time ever, maybe, I stand to be corrected, with that huge, figure you mentioned, the 1.7 or so that you say is that that's the difference. So I want you to then give that same chance to somebody who is an offshoot of a certain government that came out. Okay, our Billy, do man that second chance you need to, prove to all of you that Obitimi I standing the test of time.
Yeah. My reduce the whole argument and conversation on second chance simply for showing up. And yes, only the answer was Jima for so I win premise. After all, second.
Because issues are more dealing with the party for them to have this failure. Are you looking at it, the candidate in itself, and I say the conditions around or the circumstances around Nyamane Sisi and Intinema, the fall of that huge number, and not the candidate?
Let me be very honest here. There are a lot of factors that will influence the outcome of an election. One, even the party, the number of affected party also counts, and even the candidate also counts. I mean, you cannot dismiss and say number be a affected party now. I mean, certainly it won't affect the candidate and even the entire party.
Sure.
My member one on, for instance, economy. But at the end of the day, who are the handlers of the economy? Can you dissociate Dr. Bawumia from the handlers of the economy? Every BBR a top part in the whether good or bad, everybody has to co-own it. How do you then separate the party from him when it comes to owing up responsibility and its consequential effect on going for election and its outcome? You can't do that. You can't decouple it, because it's not like, oh, not what chain opportunity in you. It's not like say football and the ball, not chain.
Yeah.
And it be a reserve player. And a while memuna can oh, when your mom boy about troka and the share there. Openino, ye yentimi emfa nenka ho be a coach no maybe or moye na ye. But in this case, in this particular case, say not two players who are more assistant captain. How do you then say assistant captain cannot also be responsible for Bibi Ato party Nibia? So he can also purge himself.
Sure.
What I say?
Sure.
Yes,
but on your ultimate.
I mean, at the end of the day, and the
yes, on a president.
Before time no Akufo-Addo serve in government Akufo-Addo mum etimi win the first round sabe Akufo time there were no issues. What are we talking about? Akufo time na Akufo-Addo serve. You see, you made a very nice reference and a background about the fact that he was a vice president. The first time you had a vice president. Does it even not should that even not be the main reason why his popularity was so higher? He should have even propelled us into victory.
It's also known that same time now the environment was also not good to propel him to be the avant-garde.
Okay, environment asema. President Mahama, the time environment. I'm telling you that the factors apart Ghana for the General Soto is always the same. Why? Because our problems are always the same. Indeed, whether or not we like it, when we talk about factors affecting a party or factors affect, and it will always affect us.
Okay.
But give you about Akufo-Addo, the picture then in 2008. Yes, so his popularity also. But you see, at the end of the day, you cannot suggest to me that candidate does not count. A candidate counts. You cannot suggest to me say candidate does not matter.
No, candidates matter.
Me here am say be a memo brebia be ana ni pe hu me track record be ana ye hu me say na mtie ni wo say be ba man kasa mojo gidie kura nkofo kura wo mu kura no. It counts.
Yes.
It counts.
No, I agree.
Yeah, omo team people make decisions based on religion. Awari based on tribal decisions. How we on my team of VIP buses, a Makumako 102, a moon deny a bompire woman. You think people doesn't are not influenced by matters of tribe, matters of religion, matters of credibility, how they see you, your outlook? Do they see you as bold? Do they see you as courageous? Do they see you say one kasa you are standing on your own, you can make firm decisions? So these are all factors that people it influences people in selecting candidates.
And these are some of the factors that Omar Boss to say. For instance, your candidate is hot-headed. I mean, sure, so what? Your candidate, Ken is very hot-headed, or you're divisive. He is a risk. I mean, for the party when they pick. I mean, I've heard all these things. I've heard some of these things.
Saturday me dan temper me da be 4 p.m. no be oni me bia no enim say aside politics and coming on TV or my work life. Yes, me I don't have a very very conservative. Me dan temper me need to be 2 a.m.
Okay.
Me need to na me tell computer and have to research and write this na me throw it. Nti me we 10 a.m. me we na me call gym. Sunday sorry.
Okay.
So I spent 8 hours on this.
Okay.
Then somebody uses 15 minutes. Ko here they trying to ChatGPT. That's the and he just ChatGPT. Oh, miracles there no. The ChatGPT response. This is a man wasting my time on him.
Oh, okay.
Secondly, I'm saying this so that we have a background that we should be modest. Sabra na minya Ken spokesperson. Or should be by a responder. Okay, James, so on capacity na responder because me spokesperson to his level. Timmy do one my responder. You see the posture and no na affected Dr. Bawumia. the posturing even of his communicators. And then the aid and also there or not responded to us.
Do this one for me. One Kofi Ofosun cancer. I'm not sure whether you've seen the message. You know, saying I guess Kwesi Kwarteng will not attempt Asante Achim North primaries again. It's on Facebook. I say this is an analysis. Certified results for the Asante Achim North primaries as follows: incumbent Andy Kwame Apia Kubi 226 votes, representing 39.79%. Former MP Kojoba Ajima 103 votes, representing 18.13%. Samuel Kwejo Frimpong was 160, and then Stephen Obeng Saka 67, and then Kwesi Kwarteng was 12 votes, representing 2.11%. So then the analysis on also Yohane said that you shouldn't be coming back again because it is huge.
I expected this question. I have two answers to him, very succinct.
Yes.
The first one is that the candidate the northern part of the country where he's from. There are over 30 policies on so contested election bill. That is one. Secondly, the whole Ghana, all polling stations are Zongo communities, and the candidate are no presenting, apart from Winnie Bazongo, he lost every Zongo community. So by for election. Also a second chance. The candidate coming from the northern part of the country, still we lost there. Again, Tiasemi on candidates are presenting out of 16 regions of Ghana. A move 15 regions we decline in votes. Only Northeast near appreciative votes about 20,000. As the neighbor. Now, me case is say Openi Kofi Ofosun cancer. At the time, not the whole establishment was supporting his candidate. Mimi Krum. I was the only Nipa na me yejuma by my support to Kennedy Agyapong. I thought about me winning. He wasn't expecting the establishment to push for me. They obviously push for Omunipa, and the only person I support to Kennedy Agyapong. I'm just a victim of a support of Kennedy Agyapong in that election. If they care to know, I'm just a victim. How they manipulatively coerce everybody to shape everybody in line. Oma Kennedy Agyapong winning. No uncofa Asante Achim North, Asante Achim Central from near Radio Subina. Oma Kennedy Agyapong winning. No uncofa Asante Achim Central near Radio Subina. You grow well. Yeah, Brett. Mama fancy second chances second chances no openi mama it's like 2028 as my year so 2028 is not about maybe 2028 is not about second chances.
Okay,
2028 is about courage. 2028 is about credibility. 2028 is about winnability. I don't think it's about Bawumia doesn't have, but I think Ken has it more than any. No, I don't. It's not. We are smart. It's not really about Bawumia not having it. It's about Ken being taller when it comes to credibility. When it comes to the discipline. Now, before we be 4 years, but I can't say the candidate. We need a strong candidate, not a weak one.
All right. But I say.